Hey, everybody. Hope you are doing well. Um, I feel a need today to listen to some classic hair metal. And, you know, I've never really liked that term, mostly because it's kind of a disparaging term that belittles some bands that have tremendous musicianship, just happen to be in and around a time period where fashion, if you will, influenced appearance, and these bands were coming up in that time period. You know, you, there are so many other things that you could have called it, but because the hair was huge and Aquanet was a big thing, you had to call it hair metal, and that just kind of puts a sort of cheesy overtone when talking about it. And it's just horrible because there are so many great musicians, so many good songs during that time period. And yet you say the word hair metal and people just go, oh God, cheesy, and it's like, not no, don't get me wrong, some of it was cheesy, but guess what, some of the music in the grunge era was cheesy, some of the music in the current era, a lot of the music in the current era is cheesy. It's like there's goofy cheesy music in every era of music. I mean, go back to the 70s and the 60s, the greatest time in the world for music, and there's some real crap in that time period too. So you know, again, I hate using that term, but I used it anyway because it identifies what time period we're coming from. So, with that said, we're going to go to some amazing guitar playing by Vito and the band White Lion. And we're going to do an earlier song of theirs that was a bit of a radio hit, but not really as big as they would become with songs like Wait and When the Children Cry and Little Fighter, or their cover of Radar Love. We're going to do the song Hungry. And again, it's just a song that, if nothing else, really shows off Vito Bratta's amazing talents. With that said, here's Hungry by White Lion. Now, if you're a friend or a fan of the band, you will think to yourself, wait a second, that's not the song Hungry that I am used to. And that's because it's not. It's actually a demo take on the song. The recorded version, the version that was released on the album, was actually a little bit slower in tempo and had a little bit more spatial um, tonal palettes happening. There was some chorused clean guitar in the middle. It ended a little different. The guitar solo was a little different. It was, again, like I said, it was a different tempo. I'd probably say it was about 10 beats per minute slower. So, instead of being this, is more like this. Just that little bit slower, and it by lowering your tempo, you change the emotion and feeling of the song. The recorded version, the studio version that was released, had a little bit more sense of longing, because the song's about sex. Let's be honest about it. It's what it's about. And so the studio released version of it has that little bit more sense of want and desire to it. This version, this demo version at the higher tempo, it sounds a little harder because it's a bit more aggressive. And so it loses any kind of sentimentality that might have been present in the actual studio released version of it. But with that said, there's a different kind of energy in this one. This is a bit more of that sort of um, um, excited party tempo, if you will. And so I think both songs, again, it's a song about sex, so it is what it is. It's not exactly the most deep meaning stuff. And to go back to my earlier commentary when I was basically saying, hair metal has that sort of negative connotation to it when you use it. I think a lot of music from that time period can be criticized for having really no sort of I don't know what's a good word, conscience um to its lyricism. It's not really most of it, much of it was not really generating any kind of message, no kind of awareness. It was just, beach time, party time, good time music. And, music shouldn't always be serious. So I can't say that that's a negative thing. Um, Sometimes the hedonistic nature of the times that were going on um, would also make you, combined with the um, less serious nature of the vocals, make you think, oh my God, everything during that time period is just party, 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 no consciousness, no whatsoever. There's no messages, doesn't have any meaning. It's a throwaway song. I could listen to it or not listen to it. It doesn't really matter because it's just sort of, noise in the background. Whatever. Music is supposed to be fun and enjoyable, and so it doesn't always have to be serious. I mean, even bands that were noted for very serious music had a lighter side to them, whether you're talking about, um, Korn, or you're talking about, or Rage Against the Machine, or you're talking about bands like REM, and other bands, U2, that had, songs that have very socially conscious messaging. There's still some goofiness in those bands too, as there should be, because again, you don't want to just do everything um, in a messaging that is just, pay attention to this, know that, this is what's happening in the world. Sometimes you just got to be a little goofy. The thing is, during this hair metal era, um, there was in a way, there was an overabundance to that. Um, and then you get a band like Living Color that comes along and starts calling attention to stuff in a metal format, and all of a sudden social conscience raises its head in the metal world. And again, I think it was a good thing that it happened. So with that said, forget all that stuff. Vito Bratta. Oh my god. I know he got knocked down for a period of time because people are like, oh, he's just another Van Halen clone. Again, different styles, different influences, different playing styles. Yeah, he finger tapped. He had some Van Halen inspiration. Guess what? A lot of guitar players do and did. Um, you don't really hear people talking about Steve Vai being a Eddie Van Halen clone. No, he taps, doesn't he? He taps, right? There were a number of players that did. Vito's talent should not be overlooked just because he, in some ways, was influenced by another guitar player. Again, everybody's playing style is a compilation of their influences. And so, you know, as much as I love Jimi Hendrix, and I do love Jimi Hendrix, he was a blues guitar player. He was doing stuff that he was expanding upon stuff that he heard Muddy Waters do, and that he heard, Buddy Guy or Albert King do. I mean, he played just as much. He just played it more extraordinarily, right? Eric Clapton will basically tell you that he was paying tribute to the blues legends that came before him, and he's playing blues legends. He's just playing them on high gain electric guitar sounds rather than playing them on acoustic guitar. I mean, just let people express their artistry the way they want to and appreciate what they have talent for. Just because you're listening to one doesn't mean you're replacing the other, does it? I don't think so. Anyway, shoot, I got to get ready for work. Okay. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. We can talk about it further. I wish you all well. Take care.